Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south, I'll be spreading out.
What's going on, man? What's going on? What's going on? How's everything today?
What's happening, Carlos? How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing amazing. Hey, bro, you know what? Today we want to start the new Estrada Vega Capital Live, in which we are going to start tackling questions. What's going on in the world? What's going on in our country? See how we can help businesses. Because a lot of people have uncertainty on what's going on, especially because we got to think about everything. Money is not everything, but money is everything. People say that money is the root of all evil, but if you don't have money, that is the root of all evil. And unfortunately, there's a lot of uncertainty with everybody talking about a recession. I know we're going to go more in depth into this, but I know that I even see the big moguls, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, talking about a recession. These people know. And I'll tell you what, these people are well connected. They know the economy a lot better than all of us.
Right.
As a matter of fact, they make the economy. They are the big addition to what we have today. And each one of us, I mean, we all use some type of item that they have put in the economy today, from a vehicle to Amazon to computers and so on. So I know there's a lot of uncertainty, and I know we've been getting this question asked, and a lot of people are scared, especially because they don't know if they're going to have a job tomorrow or next week, or they don't know if they're going to be losing their home or not.
Right,
So,
especially business owners, right? There's a lot of talk about and a lot of buzz about a recession. So I definitely want to talk about this and kind of drop some nuggets to everybody tuning in today. So we're going to go through some really good stuff.
all right, man. So go ahead, start it for us.
Yeah, I mean, the number one question out there when we're talking about a recession is, what exactly is a recession? A lot of people just think, oh, it's, high inflation rates. Well, according to the National Bureau of Economic Research, recession is actually just a significant decline in economic activity and spread across the economy, and it lasts for at least a few months, right? So this isn't something that, just we have a bad month as the U.S. economy goes. That's not technically considered a recession. Recession has to be multiple months. And typically aligned with that recession, when we see recessions come across, it's high levels of unemployment, job loss, and a lot of businesses close. So we want to take the time today to really talk to the business owners out there so they can understand, what is recession? It's cyclical. It's not really too much to worry about in general, as long as you have certain systems set in place for your business. Right. So, hey, Carlos, how many recessions have there been, let's say, in the last 40 some odd years?
So guys, I mean, we know about economy, we know about money, and doing this little research was an eye opener for us as well. To me, I found out that there's been about at least 6 recessions in the last 40 years. I mean, it's amazing. Go ahead, bro.
No, I mean, Carlos, you're talking at the beginning of the podcast here, you're talking about these big names, these, the big companies, prolific companies like Apple, for instance, right? Yeah. If there's been 6 recessions in the past 40 years, they've experienced all of those, right? I want to say Apple's about 40 years old.
I say about all of them. Yeah, they all of these people being around in business. I mean, Amazon. I think Amazon. He experienced it, but Amazon. Did Amazon start in 1996 or 98 something?
Yeah, it was in the 90s. I remember. Right about in the 90s. I think they just started with books originally.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's an amazing story, and we all. I mean, it takes us back to how we started this company too. I mean, who knows what we're going to be in 10 years from now?
Right.
And the goal is for us to actually go into the banking system. So stay tuned. No, but I mean, talking about 1980s, I mean, I'm an 80s baby. You an 80s baby too?
Oh, yeah.
So, a lot of these things really didn't affect me, but I've been hearing about the one that I truly remember is 2007 and 8.
Yeah.
That's when, for some reason it just happened. I wanted to, playing the Monopoly game my whole life always stayed with me, and trying to get the homes and get the hotels. And that was the thing that I always wanted to. I wanted to acquire real estate for some crazy reason. Don't know why. So one of the first books that I ever read and that started allowing me to open my mindset about business and investing was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert
Oh
Kiyosaki.
yeah, yeah. That's a
So
classic.
that's a classic, So even though like back then, and I remember that the person that I was with, we even got into this. They had a game called Cash Flow. It's just like Monopoly, but it's a cash flow game in which you go around, you buy homes, you invest, and you are able to now multiply and get a multifamily, not a hotel, but a multifamily. So it was kind of cool. So I remember back then, I even had parties. I used to live in this basement. That basement was infested with roaches. I tell you that.
Ugh,
That's
ugh.
a story for another day. But it's, you have to do what you have to do. The place that we used to live in, it was a basement. It was one of those old buildings, and no matter what we did in that apartment, we always find roaches everywhere. But you know what? And I used to have these parties, like called the cash flow parties, in which we used to come together. But those little things that we did back then, doesn't matter how crazy they were in the place that I did in, which I wouldn't do it again. I mean, I probably would do it somewhere else and bring people to a diner, whatever the case is, or go to somebody else's house. It was great for me and my family, meaning that expanded my thinking about business, how I think about investing, and how I approach real estate. And that's how I learned about the recession of 2008. And that's why I wanted to start buying then real estate in 2009 and 10,
Oh yeah.
while people were coming up. And I bought properties at a very low price. Some properties that have appreciated double of what I paid back then.
Mhm.
So it takes us today to a it's never too late.
Right.
We keep hearing it where there's smoke, there may be fire, there was fire, right? That means that this may happen, and more than likely will happen.
Oh
Those
well, of course
businesses,
it's going to happen, right?
it
It's
is
it's
going to
cyclical.
happen.
These things happen with the economy. It ebbs, it flows, and it goes up and down. So that's why we're bringing it to you guys today. Is we want to talk to
Wow.
you about recessions and what to do. So I kind of want to get in a little bit more into detail about some of these recessions that we've
Yeah,
had. So in the 80s, you said you were an 80s baby. In the 80s, there were actually two recessions. Okay,
yeah.
back to back. 1990 was a big recession.
Hmm.
2001 was a large recession here for the United States. And then, of
Yeah,
course, the 2007 recession, which most people remember, it was that housing market
yeah.
crash, right? Like 2.6 million people lost their jobs. Okay. And along with that, 1.8 million people, their small businesses collapsed, they went under. Okay.
Wow, that's
So
crazy.
I mean that's massive to think about. When our economy does this downward cycle, if these businesses aren't ready, if they're not educated, if they don't know what to do, and they don't have the systems in place, that's why those businesses fail, and they fail in such great numbers. Now,
Yeah,
also during that time, shortly after that recession, the United States was home to the most millionaires in the world.
I
Okay,
know.
and the richest people in the world in total, their
Yeah,
wealth increased by roughly 19%. Okay. So why people are 2.6 million people are losing their jobs, 1.8 million small businesses are going under, you're seeing the rich get richer. Okay. And
yeah,
these large companies, if they have the systems in place and they knew what they were doing, most of them did because they'd experienced these
yeah.
these cycles of recession prior to, they actually got richer. So whenever there's this downturn in the economy, it opens up
Hmm.
massive opportunities for business owners, for small business owners. Okay, now
Yeah.
the last recession here, of course, we all know what's going on right now. Roughly started in about 2020 with the COVID
2020.
pandemic,
Yeah,
and
March.
it's still rocking and rolling. So I
Yeah,
mean, we're talking about this recession lasting. It started 2 years ago, okay,
that's
and it's
crazy.
going to continue for what would you? I mean, I've read a bunch of articles about this, Carlos. I
Yeah,
think it's going to be at least another year until we start to see a rebound. What do you
yeah.
think?
Well, you know what? And before let me answer that question. But I believe yes, at least another year. But I think it's definitely gonna go span to at least 2 to 3 years,
Oh
knowing
yeah,
and seeing what has happened, and learning from it. A lot of people don't like to study history, but knowing history, I mean, it repeats itself.
Right.
And we just got to learn from it and take advantage. And what I mean, take advantage of the situation is learning the economy and how you can invest, how you can prepare yourself. That's taking advantage. Do not take advantage of each other.
Mhm.
One thing that that so if we go to all of these recessions, let's go back to 1933, like the big recession, right?
Yeah, that's
Big,
the
big
biggest one
depression.
we've ever had.
Crazy thing is that the other day I'm scrolling to social media and I hear Robert Kiyosaki talking about it. It's like he's comparing what's coming to a Great Depression of 1933. So if the guy has been able to invest and create massive wealth in at least one, two of the recessions that we have lived in the past 40 years. If he knows and if he's comparing it to one of those, I mean, it's time for us to at least, hey, let me do a little more research. And when we talk about taking advantages, educate yourself, know where you're at, start learning about credit, start learning about OPM, start learning how you can put things in place that if you lose your job, you lose your business, or don't lose your business. I mean, if you really know putting things in place, you will never lose your business. Matter of fact, one of the biggest advices that we have from one of our mentors, which is Grant Cardone, he said, in the times of recession, when things go hard, that's when you should put everything towards your business because
Yes.
that's when you're gonna capitalize on everybody else that didn't take their time, didn't do their homework, and prepare themselves to actually survive through hard times. And guess what's gonna happen? All the customer, all the market share that they lost, you are going to gain because you were able to now invest in yourself, invest into your business.
Mhm.
So if anything, any type of advice that we could give anyone today is invest in yourself. Start learning, educate yourself about what's upcoming. What are the industries that you should be looking into? How you can help others? Because at the same time, remember, people are gonna come to you if you develop and if you create value, right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, value exceeds cost. That's when people buy, right? And they're always going to barter with you with their what's a great way to say this? So people when they buy products or services, they're always going to give you their least valued item, right? Whether it's time or money. Okay, so maybe I mean that just speaks volumes right there. But I kind of want to go back to let's go back to 2007 real quick
Got
because you said something there that like really made me start thinking about the massive wealth that was created in the
yeah,
following year or two. Now, I gave you some stats a little while ago about
yeah,
the richest people got richer, but individuals who decided to really put their foot down forward and
yeah,
move correctly through that recession of 2007 were able to buy homes. But
yeah,
those homes are massive. You said so yourself. Your equity in your home has nearly doubled, if not doubled, that you bought in
yeah.
2008, 2009. So
Hmm.
right now, understand the same thing's going to happen. And you were also talking about the Great Depression of 1933. I think this is like the textbook example of what
Hmm.
everybody thinks of when you say recession. When you say tell somebody recession, they're like, "Oh, Great Depression."
Great
They think of those
Depression.
black and white photos of people sitting on the
Yeah,
streets, and that's huge. And I think what a lot of people fail to understand about the recession is that yeah, it was terrible, but that was a time in our history where more millionaires were made during that Great
yeah,
Depression than in any other time in US history, including now. Right.
yeah.
So, and there's a couple other stats here that we're going to talk to you guys about, but I just want you to think about that. So, at a time of massive economic depression, again, textbook example, everybody thinks of those black and white photos.
Yeah.
They think about how terrible it was. There were a lot of people making a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, I mean that's massive, right? Do you want to go through some of these stats, Carlos, about the
So
the great?
yeah. So and again, guys, keep in mind because I know that and again coming from the culture that I come from, and I know that look when I came to the country, it was I live in the hood. I have very poor family members, and one of the main things that people talk about is like, oh, the richer keep getting richer. We can get none of that, or the opportunities are not there for us. No, there is. It's just that they think completely different. The wealthy
Right.
think completely different. they learn the ups and downs on the economy and how they can take advantage of it. That's what you need
Then
to
they
do.
educate their children on it, right? It's that like
Correct.
that generational knowledge where people
Yeah,
who
here we
don't
go.
have that in their lives,
Mhm.
they never get that, right? It's not that they teach that in school.
Yeah,
There's no way
yeah,
that, there's a high school or a college out there that's really going to detail about how to truly manage your money like
correct.
millionaires and billionaires do.
And again, that's not only generational knowledge, but that's what you leave behind: generational wealth,
Legacy, yeah.
a legacy. And and that stuck with me like Shaquille O'Neal. The guy has made so much money. And he tell his kids, this money ain't yours. I'm gonna teach you how to make your own money. I'm gonna leave 10% of what I have to you guys. Everything else is mine. I'm gonna leave it my way. And it's crazy because this guy has so much money. But if you think what a lot of people think, oh, you should leave that to your family. People, no, they say, no, I'm going to allow my family or my kids to know how to make the same money that I'm making, even more.
Right.
Because now that's when you create men and women. That's when you leave a legacy behind than just leaving millions. How many trust babies you have seen that lose their money after a while just because they didn't know how to multiply?
Right. They didn't know how to
Eventually,
manage.
money loses value unless you know how to invest in it, create generation or cash flow. So that's something that
Mhm.
we all got to keep in mind: how we can leave something behind. And you should start today by educating yourself, by knowing about credit, by knowing about investments, by knowing about the industries that you are in, and how you could add value to yourself and to everybody else around you. Now, let's go to some of the stats of the 1933 Great Depression. Now, guys, unemployment was so high, 24.9%, which was approximately about 13 million people have lost their
That's a
job.
lot of people without jobs.
I'll tell you what, 300,000 companies went out of business.
Mm.
I'm telling you, there's going to be a great amount of companies in this new recession coming up closing doors.
Well,
Why?
we see it already. Yeah.
We've seen it already. Yeah, we've seen it already. Why? Because they don't have the capital. Like, I mean, it's stats for the past 10 years, or for the past 5, 6 years, it's been like 1 out of 3. We're talking about it's going to be 2.5 going forward because those business owners, unfortunately, they know what they're doing and they have a great business in whichever industry they're in. They just don't know how to be able to sustain, be able to create capital, be able to create credit for their
Right.
business. Because we got to think about, we always preach this: credit is one of the legs or the foundation of your business. Now,
Sure, it allows you to invest in opportunities, right? So
mhm,
2008, if I owned a business that was a property management group and I had access to capital that was a couple
mhm,
million, I mean, that would be that would be massive. That would be life changing for my life, for my kids' life, for my kids' lives. And that's what happened to a lot of people is that, the ones that had the access, the businesses that were had the access to the capital when that 2007 crash, they were like, all right, cool. Let's go ahead and let's buy a bunch of homes. And now they're sitting on fat piles of equity, right?
yeah,
So, you know, and going back to the Great Depression, it's 300,000 businesses that went out of business, right? And
correct,
then
yes,
not only that, let's talk about just the individual, not even the business. Okay, so 200,000 people in New York City alone. That's 200,000 people
yeah,
during the Great Depression, New York City alone, were evicted. Okay,
yeah,
so and that's in the span of 1 year.
yeah.
Right now take that countrywide. That's massive. A lot of people lost their homes, lost their jobs, and again, those are the people who didn't have access to the capital. Okay,
But not
now
only that, talking about in the state of New York, or yeah, in New York City. So Fred Trump, President Trump's father, that's how he started creating wealth, by investing now in affordable housing, developing, after the Great Depression, investing in affordable housing and developing all this massive 1 to 3 family house that it was affordable to everybody that had lost their job, people that came from war and everything. That's how the wealth come. And again, Donald Trump took it to another level. He knew that the one family that you can multiply by 45, 50, and even more units could create more under one roof. And that's how he was able to develop a business credit. Not business credit, but the wealth for him and his family. So,
mm,
yeah, I mean, and again, yeah, like we said, I mean, a lot of people lost a lot But like you said, also there's many people that created wealth in the Great Depression.
Yeah, more millionaires than any other time in our history. And, why did that happen? Right. Well, the main commonality between all of these businesses that really thrived is that, again, these people had access to capital. They had
Yeah.
access to good debt. Okay. Now, speaking of debt, right, it's 2022.
Yeah.
All big businesses are in debt. Okay. So, last night we had a podcast and it came up briefly, right? But there's some examples here. And what we want to talk about, why we want to talk about this is for those small business owners who say, hey, I don't want to be in debt. Okay. Because they again think of debt and they think of these black and white pictures. They think of Great Depression. They think of losing their business, right? That's debt is being able, there's good debt and bad debt, but
Yeah.
good debt is being able to invest in opportunities when they come around. So, I mean, let's talk about some prolific companies out there, Carlos.
Yeah.
Well, what's a big one and how much
So let's,
debt are they?
so let's talk at least Microsoft PCs. We're talking about they are in debt right now, 47 million. Now
Billion
going
with a B. Billy.
yeah,
Billy.
billion. And we go to 47 billions. I mean, Bill Gates by itself is worth more than that. Am I
Yeah,
correct? So
yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'd have to Google it real quick, but
yeah,
yeah, I think he's
alone, Microsoft. So what we're trying to say, so that's one. We got Amazon with more than 50 billion in debt right now. We got Exxon with 55. Apple, guys, Apple capitalized everything. We're talking about that just because I want to change one thing, I end up getting everything Apple. They probably got out of me almost $11,000, and I'm just one person.
right.
Think
And they're
about
they're
that.
an extremely successful business.
Oh, they are. They're very amazing about what they create and the culture that they've been able to create about these phones, crazy phones. This little thing right here that costs about $1,200. One phone. Imagine that it was in back order that I had to wait almost 2 months to actually do because they didn't create enough. So what I'm saying is that they have the cash. They have the cash to pay everything that they invest on with money, with cash, with paper, but
With
they
revenue,
end
yeah.
up getting debt. Why they not getting debt? I mean, we're talking about Toyota. Toyota is, I mean, almost everybody. Like
How
it was
much
like
is Apple in debt for?
a hundred billion dollars.
$100 billion
A
for one of
hundred
the
billion dollars. And
most
Toyota
well-known brands out there.
and Toyota is about $192 billion.
That's
I mean,
nuts.
that's just mind blowing right there. But it's like, why they can do it and we can't? Why we can follow the same? That's something that we gotta get out of this mold. Not everything is round and everything in a little bubble. We need to
Right.
get out
It's
of it and start seeing how rules are written because they follow every rule. IRS
model,
puts
mimic,
there.
master, man. If these
Yeah.
if these massive companies are doing this, it make
Mhm.
you think like, hey, cool. If I'm a business and I see this happening, maybe I should follow suit, right? Model,
Correct.
mimic, master.
Yeah. And again, now guys, you know what? That's one of the main things that we preach over here. See who's doing well in your industry. See who's doing well in life. Follow that person, follow that company. See what system they put together. See who they are using and replicate it. Replicate it. At the end of the day, as you continue replicating, you're gonna twist and you're gonna actually end up doing your own way, but you're following the same path. But I guarantee you that if you do and you try to multiply what they're doing, you'll be successful. Now,
Mhm. Well, well, Carlos, man, let's talk about, okay, we've talked about these companies being in debt. We've talked about times of recession when people are making a lot of money and
yeah,
the uneducated or the uneducated business
yeah.
masses are losing out drastically. So let's say that, I own my own business. What
Mhm.
are the best investments that I can make during a recession?
Well, I mean, some of the things that I know the Department of Treasury talks about is you could actually invest into high yield savings accounts. You could also invest into certified deposits, which is CDs. We all hear about it, or government bonds. Again, but I don't know about that, man. I mean, talking about the government bonds, sometimes I don't
Yeah.
trust
Well,
the
they
government.
say that it's extremely low risk, right? So,
Yeah, very
I
low
mean,
risk. Yeah,
I get it. The ROI there, like return on investment on those
yeah.
is extremely small, right? You're not
Yeah.
that, for me, that's not really worth it. I would
Yeah.
like to see a little bit more return on investment, but that's a really big thing too. Is that when you're thinking about investments, always consider your return on investment and always do
Yeah.
your research, right? But
Yeah. Of
when you're
course.
thinking about your ROI, you know, your ROI can be increased by using higher levels of debt. Okay, so the more
Right.
debt that I accrue to invest with, obviously it's not rocket science here. The more money I put
Uh,
towards an investment, the more return that I can make, right? So I mean
right.
that's a no-brainer. What's another thing besides those savings accounts, those CDs, and government bonds that people can invest in?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I mean, this is something that always going. This is something like Omar Purview always talks about. If you really want to make money through a recession and want to save, or we want to be able to create wealth, I mean, silver, gold, it's one of those things. You high dividend paying accounts, and guys, real estate is no brainer. Well, to me, and that's the way that I always been. And again, you call me old fashioned, but I like to invest into something that I can touch. I
Hmm.
think the name says it all. Real estate, something that I could go. If I have a piece of land, I could just go lay on my piece of land, and
Right, it's yours.
it's not a piece of stock. I mean, don't get me wrong. The stocks are very good investment, but they're extremely risky.
Yeah,
Especially with a recession, you don't know how the business. Honestly, to me, and this is the way that I think. And again, I know a lot of people are gonna
right.
probably think completely different than me, and some gonna be in Team Carlos. But one thing that you got to keep in mind is I don't know how this company is running the operations. I don't know how they. And again, so some of these things are public, but I still don't trust it. I don't know
Right. Well, I mean, when you're looking at
what's your thought on
companies,
that, like the stock
yeah, I
market.
mean, when you're looking at companies,
Yeah.
to invest in, whether if that be stocks or not, or some other type of investment, you always
Yeah.
want to look for strong fundamentals, okay, and
Yes.
a long history of profitability. Why? Well, just like we said before, recessions are cyclical, okay,
Yeah.
and many larger companies and large company stocks have experienced many of these recessions. So if you're looking to invest, I mean that's also an option. Again, I'm with you on that. I'd much rather invest in real estate or something tangible, gold, silver,
Yeah.
something like that, right? So let's kind of talk about real estate as a whole. You know, why would that be a good investment, Carlos?
Well, not only is it good investment because one, in the residential side, you could buy everything that is upcoming. People unfortunately did not buy real estate properly, and they're gonna be losing their homes.
Yeah,
Mortgage is gonna go through the roof. People are gonna be losing their jobs. And again, this is not opportunity. This is not an opportunity to take advantage of people, but it's an opportunity to help people. There's gonna be so many ways in which you could short sale loans and buy properties for pennies on the dollars.
I agree.
But the only way that you're gonna be able to do that is if you have the money in hand.
And the time's coming, man. Once we hit that bottom, everybody's going to be so scared that
Yeah,
prices are going to just plummet in specific
yeah,
areas, and you'll be able to swoop in there and scoop them up for, like you said, pennies on the dollar. Guys, understand
correct.
that the great thing about real estate is that it's a basic necessity. Okay, it's like selling food and water, right?
Yeah.
That's always going to be sold. Okay,
So
basic.
and again, that's a necessity, like you're saying. There's a lot of people that are gonna be losing those homes. And what happened is when you lose a home, you have to now move from either you move with your parents or family members, or you need to now go into a multifamily or an apartment that you need to rent. What happened is when people loses their home, they have a lot of stuff that they are sentimentally attached to. And guess what? One of the biggest things that I've seen that makes and never goes out of business, if you see it popping up everywhere, is self storages.
Oh yeah,
Self storages are always
commercial.
full.
Yeah.
And guess what? And guess what? If you invest into a self storage, and if the person, sometimes have you seen that in TV? They even have shows on self storages wars and when people
Oh yeah, those are
bid.
good. I
And I'll
think
tell you,
they're all made up. They're all
no,
rigged.
man, no, but I
Yeah.
seen it like honestly, like I seen it, but I seen it in a different way in which you do bid, and sometimes you find gems there, and sometimes not. But no matter what, I never
Guess
seen
who
a
makes
store.
money?
Yeah, I never
No
seen a
matter
self
what, that
storage.
storage company makes money.
I know, yeah. So I never seen a self storage company go out of business. Never.
You know what? I don't think I have either.
Yeah,
Right?
and why is that? Because that is, like you said, that's a necessity.
Mm,
Real
Yep.
estate, a home, a roof with four walls is always a necessity.
hmm
So if you invest, and again, and I understand that a lot of people are probably starting today and they have a couple thousands of dollars. You know what? Start working towards that. Start investing with other people.
hmm
Get together. You could buy
Yeah.
duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, multifamily. Multifamily, it is value by the rent roll that you have, not by the property. So, for example, in a home, it will be valued by the market. The market will value a property, let's just say in New York, for $500,000. Now, the same building could be right next to it with 50 units, could be valued by the rent roll that I'm charging to my tenants. If I lose people in the same month, my property would be valued so much less. So you got to think about it. It's almost like a business. How you handle your real estate, but how you invest your real estate, and in the forms of real estate that you invest in, it's also a smart decision. Because something that I learned too is that the same effort, the same work that you put on one family, you put in 16 to 32
hmm
or even more. So
Right.
why not go with a higher one?
Work smart, not hard. And another big thing here, Carlos, is that it
Mhm.
provides long-term stability. Okay, so
Yeah.
the housing market, it continues to appreciate in value. And you might be thinking, well, whoa, 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 you guys were just talking about a massive market crash in 2008. I'm
Yeah.
talking about over the lifetime of an average human being, right? So
Yeah.
over 70 years and many recessions. Okay, um, you know, real estate is one of those few things that continues to appreciate. For the
Correct.
for the most part, it's not going to go down. Okay. So
So
and another great thing there too,
yeah,
you were going over a couple of different types of real estate. You know, off campus student housing's a great
okay,
investment. Okay, those
good
kids are going to
investment.
need a place to stay.
Hmm.
Senior housing and even farmland too. I just kind of wanted to throw that in there.
No, no, yeah, and then the senior housing. I mean, you got to think like right now in the next year or so. It's another reason why you should always and start investing into obtaining credit. There are going to be many businesses that are going to be sold. Why is that? A lot of baby boomers I don't want to deal with this anymore. They're gonna be able to sell it at a seller's finance, or they're gonna sell their business outright. A lot of people too, they don't want to live in a home anymore. You got to think as you get older, you just want to be able to live in a facility that you are taken care of. So senior housing is one of those. So keep that in mind too. And something like even more recession. So we just spoke about two type of properties: a residential and a multifamily. One is valued by the market. In this case, if a recession goes down, that residential property is going to go down in value. The other one is not, it's not valued by the market, but it's valued by the rent roll that you have. If X person that lives here now needs to move over here because they lost a house and this is at a lower price to live here, guess what? This property is what's gonna happen to this property through a recession? It's still gonna go up in value. So
hmm
think about those type of investments that you could have and start learning today. Invest in yourself. That's one of the things that Grant Cardone says too. The first investment should be in yourself, and that's what we're talking about over here. Educate yourself about what's about to start happening, and see which vehicle is best for you. Real estate may not be something that you want to deal with. It may be another type of industry, but educate yourself. Find the passion. Like we love credit. We love real estate. These are two things that I mean, to me, everybody should be in real estate and everybody should be in credit. Learn about
Right.
credit. You should be in some type of business. But again, that's not everybody's passion. But if you are in business, you must learn about credit.
Right, 100%. So, I mean, we're talking about these investments here, and it's all well and good, but there's a lot of businesses out there that don't have the capital. Okay, we're
Yeah.
talking about thousands and tens of thousands of small businesses out there that want to invest in these things to make sure that their business is going to be here long term. Okay,
Correct.
or at least into a phase where they can exit their business. So, how would those businesses get access to capital?
Well, I mean, to be biased over here, there's something that's called Estrada Vega Capital, right?
Ah,
So, guys, I mean, it's something that we can help you with. And that's why we wanted to be here today, too. I mean, we know there's something going on. You could do with us with someone else, but you're gonna find out that what we could do for you is so much better than any of our competition.
our level of service.
Yeah, correct. So something that we can do today is we're gonna have a special for everybody. We usually allow our clients to come in for a certain price, and we discounted them almost 75% on what we have. But we wanted to go ahead and show you, and this is something that hey, you want to keep it for what for the next 48 hours. We only
Yeah,
gotta keep
yeah,
that
and
for
over the weekend, that's it.
oh yeah.
Then it's done.
So so you're gonna have a big discount on this, and it's gonna be for the next 48 hours. Monday morning, this is gonna go down.
Mhm.
So this is gonna only cost you about 9.97. But what are you gonna get? Tell me what they're getting on Brock.
Well, Carlos, first things first, when we're talking about small businesses, we need to make sure that you're completely compliant. Okay.
Correct.
Make
Yeah.
sure that you can actually get approved for the funding and the capital that your business needs to invest in
Hmm.
these opportunities that we talked about today. Right. So, first things first is we're going to go through your business and we're going to tell you all the items to make you truly compliant. Okay. So,
Got it.
companies out there might be saying, well, I am compliant. Well, there's over 20 different factors. Well, there's a lot more than that, but there's 20 main factors that will result in your business being declined. And they're super simple stuff for the most part. That's the first phase. Okay.
Mhm.
Then from there, we're going to show you and we're going to hold your hand through the process. And so you can build your business credit. We don't want you going out there. We don't want you going to our massive network of vendors, lenders, clearinghouses, and banks to get access to capital without having the appropriate business credit. Okay. So we want to make sure that your business is true and tried, and when lenders look at your business, you can get approved. Now, the next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to get you access to that capital. Okay. Now, in fact, we have a pretty awesome guarantee. Okay. You join our program, we guarantee you that your business will get funding within 90 days. Okay.
That's
That's
amazing.
massive. Now, our average amount of funding available to our clients within that first 90 days is over $70,000. Okay. So we have businesses everywhere from mom and pop shops all the way to, you know, companies that are making tens of millions of dollars in revenue on
Yeah.
a regular basis, on an annual basis, right? So
Hmm.
we can help you no matter how big, how small. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, another really big thing that we want to go in here, why we do this is because we want to make sure that you understand the fundamentals and the intricacies of business credit, what it can do for your business. But we also want to make sure that you have generational growth for your business as well. Okay.
Correct.
If
Yeah.
you don't have access to the capital, if you're not utilizing good debt, you're not getting good terms from your vendors, you're not getting good terms from your different credit lines. Not only that, when something happens, when this recession really starts rocking and rolling, and you find yourself in a position to invest, right, when others don't, okay, that could be the change for your business,
Yeah.
um, that could really explode your business. What you're going to end up with is not being able to take advantage of those opportunities. Okay. So we want to make sure that you do. One of the biggest mistakes that a business owner can make is not having access to capital. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you don't, you're going to use it right away.
Hmm.
But by the time that you need access to capital, it's too late. Okay. If you need that access, hey, by that time, by the time you go, oh, I really need this money, it's already too late and that opportunity is going to pass you by. So it's extremely, extremely important that you have access to it prior to needing it. Okay. Now, we're going to help you all through this process. We're going to go
Do you want to show them the piece of the software so like that they see and they also see or should we show them where they can go into our website to find out even on a competition on what we have to offer and even the prices because this price that we're giving today it is just the price for this live.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can go to our website. Why don't we put the website link up there,
Let's
Carlos?
go to the website real quick then so like that we can definitely do it. You want to take
Yeah.
him to the website, you want to take him to the
No,
link?
let's go to the website. Let's go to our pricing page.
Let's
So
go.
and it shows our software, it shows what we offer compared to competitors. And do your own research, guys. But I can tell you the level of service that we offer to our clients is bar none. Okay.
Yes.
We want to make sure that, hey, you don't just get money, but you know exactly what to do with the money. You make ethical decisions when it comes to lending as well. And you get the payment terms the best payment terms possible for your business, right? So let's go to the services page, Carlos.
Let's do it over here. All right, so let's go to services page.
Yeah. So what we're offering right now for this live, that that ends over the weekend is
Yeah.
the gold program, right? Which is normally priced at $14.97. Okay. So with this program, you're going to get full access to our proprietary software. You're going to get full access to our funding network, and you're also going to be able to have a virtual coach. Okay. So
Yeah.
we're going to do all this for you and significantly cheaper than we would typically do it for you. It's our gift to you as a small business owner because we want to make sure that you last through the recession. So, guys, if you're interested, Carlos has that QR code, but also you can go to our website as well. It's estradavegacapital.com, and you can be able to see testimonials. You'll be able to see exactly what it is that we offer compared to our competitors, and of course, the pricing. We believe that being transparent is one of the most important aspects to helping others. So, guys, go ahead and scan that with your phone or click on it if you're watching us on your computer, and you can go ahead and get into the program. And guess what? When you get into that program right now, either Carlos or I are going to be giving you a call as soon as you do. So, pretty awesome stuff. We're going to give you some direct instructions right from the get-go. We're going to make sure that you are happy within the platform, and that this way we can have an action plan for you to get as much funding as possible in the least amount of time as possible.
Correct. Yeah. So one thing that we want to make sure that you keep in mind, and let's reinforce this. This is going to stay up with our live, and with this video that is going to stay on YouTube as well. So you can go to YouTube, you go to Estrada Vega Capital. That will be our handle at Estrada Vega Capital on YouTube, and in every other social media platform. We're also going to add it. But this QR code will be decommissioned by Monday morning. So don't try to pull a fast one. Don't try to pull a fast one. We already thought about it.
I can already see it. Monday, hey, I tried to pay on the link and I couldn't get it, and then I got to tell you,
so
hey, I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what, 12 o'clock. This is already set to 12 o'clock Monday morning, 12 a.m. Monday morning will be decommissioned. So now, one thing that I want to make sure that you understand, this is something that we don't put out there. As you see the price that just for the software. Just to have the software, what we had to pay to develop the software is astronomical. You are getting less than 1% of what the software was actually, what was invested in. But what I'm trying to say is everything that we have in the software and in the service that you get with our company, 360 Business Vantage, is bar none the best. And again, we're trying to be biased over here, but I want you to put it to the test. One thing you got to keep in mind is not every company will allow you to come in and work with them, give you coaching, give you a service, but also allow you to stay with them for the rest of your life, because you have lifetime access to the rest of the system and all the updates that are coming in. I mean, we're working with different networking companies and other companies that are going to come in to provide more value to you guys. But again, once again, we want to help you to develop business credit. We want to help you to work and creating that capital that you need, especially for a recession. We want to make sure that you understand that without knowing one of the legs, you're always going to walk funny.
Yeah,
when it comes
absolutely. Absolutely.
Think about having a stool and one of the legs don't work.
Yeah.
How comfortable
You
that's
have to
going
know.
to be.
You got to know about your business credit. You got to be educated about your finances
Correct,
for your company. And you have to know what to do and when to do it. Okay. If you wait, if you don't have an action plan, your action plan is going to be to fail. So we definitely don't want that to happen. We want you to be completely proficient in everything business credit and funding. And we want you to give you full access to our funding network, so you can get the best terms, rates, and offer you all the education behind it. So that way, that you're getting a good deal.
Of course. Hey guys, well, appreciate it. You see it over here? Yeah. Okay. I trying to point and I was trying to say, okay, right there is the QR code. It is right there. But no. So you see, we're gonna leave it up here. We're gonna end up our live today. We appreciate that you guys tuned in. But if you're rewatching over the weekend, make sure to take advantage of it.
Oh yeah.
The opening tomorrow. So if you have any questions about anything that we spoke about before you even buy, not a problem. give us a call. The number is 516-600-0127. So 516-600-0127. And we could go ahead and clarify certain things and show you how we can help you. And again, this offer is only good till Monday, beginning of Monday, 12
It
midnight.
ends over the weekend, right? So take advantage of it while you can, because again, if you call us up on Monday, we're gonna have to tell you sorry. So, guys,
All right.
thank you so much for coming on, Carlos. Appreciate it, and
Thank you.
let's rock and roll.
All right, guys. Hey, talk to you guys soon. Have a safe weekend.
All right.
Bye.
I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. I tell you get big box, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase them?